to the December 10th, 2019 open session meeting of the Ayer Planning Board. I guess that's my call to order this evening. And first piece of business is motion to approve the agenda, please.
So moved.
Do I have a second, please?
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. It's moved and seconded. Any discussion on the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Brings us to our first topic of the evening, the continued public hearing, proposed definitive subdivision off Shaker Road. 23 lots, Daniel and Joel Aho. Marco Masquito.
Yes.
Mr. Boardman, of course, good evening.
Good evening.
Why don't you just run for
What?
just run for the board, man.
I'm hoping I'm invited to the Christmas party personally.
This is
it.
Oh, brought eggnog.
I wore my seasonal tie.
Good.
Go ahead, Mark.
I'm just going to give a very brief overview of the changes to the plan. We have a revised plan set from the applicants. And what they did is they took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 lots that have duplexes for a total of 12 units, and there are 10 single-family homes, single-family home lots that, along this road. They were able to shift the road a little bit south of the buffer zone of the pond compared to what it was previously. They added some landscaping near the entrance. There's a detention basin here at the border with the golf course. And the boulder is still here, and the open space pretty much surrounds the entire developed area. To the south, we have this parcel of open space. To the north, the area mostly within the 100-foot buffer zone of the Shaker Mill Pond. And a little bit of open space here too, with some additional landscaping as screening for the golf course properties over there. This application will require a special permit to allow duplexes in the A2 residential district, which we will hear in January. That requires notification in the newspaper of other notification. And we will also be talking about the site plan for section 9.6, the grading and landscaping. So tonight basically is a progress, sort of progress report on this. I also wanted to mention that we have Jeffrey Santa Cruz from Weston and Sampson here to talk about the traffic study. And I thought it would be worth his time and the planning board's time to give an overview of what the traffic study will entail and what we can expect in the future from the traffic study. Okay. So whenever you feel it's appropriate to recognize Mrs. Santa Cruz.
That'd be great, thank you. We've had changes in the plan. Yep. Mr. Boardman, you want to give us a quick overview, please?
Sure. I did. There is a letter submitted that sort of outlines a lot of the nitty and gritty, a lot of its utilities, things like that, and I'm happy to answer any questions on the specifics. I think I'd rather just go over some of the broad brush approach. One of the big issues was the entrance roadway, and we've realigned that roadway to align up essentially straight with the Shaker Mill intersection and create almost a T there. We added stop signs that weren't called out previously, and that were asked for by DPW. Mark's correct, the cul-de-sac essentially remained the same. There were some minor adjustments to the road location based on this revised entrance. The big thing that you'll notice is there's no common driveways. Let's see, I pull out what was originally filed and just throw that on top for the minute. If you recall, originally the road was here and we came in with a driveway on the right, another common driveway here, and then a shared common driveway at the end that was paralleling an access to the golf course. At this point, it's really quite simplified. A lot cleaner, a lot neater. I don't know whether you even term the duplex driveways shared driveways or not, but I mean, there's obviously driveways that serve the 2 units in the duplexes themselves, but other than that, everybody ends up coming off the roadway themselves. The driveway to the golf course has been maintained here at the request of Mr. Curtis. He stood up in a public hearing and made that statement, so we've honored that. The intent would be to pave to a point about here for a stub, and then for the existing gravel to continue, and that would allow the condo, the duplex right here, to also have its access. So that one's a little bit shared as it comes off. Let's see, other major changes to the plan. You mentioned the detention basin. Originally, we had an underground stormwater detention system under the pavement. I don't think DPW was excited about that. It's a costly item. It made it difficult to run the utilities. By reducing the overall footprint of the project, we were freed up a space where there were in the past were 2 units. And we put a more standard detention basin there. That's located on the back of lot 9. So that it is not in the open space because the Conservation Commission doesn't want the drainage in the open space. All right. I'm hoping that the fire department will be happy without the common driveways and without the entrance, so those issues should go away, as will the building commissioner's question about common driveways. Pavement width and sidewalk width has been increased from 20 to 22 at the request of the DPW. We did meet with Conservation last week, and they seemed pleased with the plan. We did discuss the disposition of the open space at the end. We're requesting that it be conveyed to the town and become conservation land at the end of the day. The commission...
So the far eastern?
Well,
Yeah.
Yes.
all of it.
Okay.
I mean, we could split it up, but
Oh, when you said at the end, I thought you were talking about the end of the road.
No, at the end of
I'm
the, at
sorry.
the end of the process.
At the end of the project.
Yep.
Thank you.
So we had suggested that it become conservation land and it be valuable to the town. There was then questions and discussion about access, and we agreed verbally in the meetings that we will work with the conservation to create a walking trail along the water, and that there could be access adjacent to the boulder. The question then came about, would it be public or open to everybody or just the homeowners association? And if it were to be town conservation land, the commissions felt that it should be open to everyone. And then they were concerned that there should be some kind of parking. So after the meeting, I talked to Mr. Aho, and actually they had a great suggestion. One of the changes is there's an area of green space on the right just before the cul-de-sac. We were calling that out and utilizing it as snow storage. So that had been one of the planning board's concerns. Seems to me there's no reason we can't add 2 parking spaces there for the summer months, which would be when people are going to utilize that open space. So that's not on the plan, but we intend to add that as we move forward. All right. So hopefully the commission will come back to you with some input on that, and we can keep that moving forward slowly. All right.
Thank you.
We did some utility changes requested by DPW. We modified some hay bale locations requested by the Conservation Commission. We added granite curving at the roundings. I'm trying to hit the highlights here. At the very end are some additional revisions. An area for snow storage was added. Again, we've got green space here, and I put an actual easement on the plan labeling it as snow storage. If we put parking spaces there, maybe we'll reconfigure it a little differently so that it's not on this lot, but its own parcel. But we'll work that out as we move forward. We also shifted lot 1 away from the street and put a landscape berm planted with evergreens. I think it's about 20 feet of open space there. That at least gives us some green space and some buffer for that particular homeowner, also for the homeowner across the street.
I'm sorry.
Am I in the way?
Yeah, so, thank you, John.
Sure.
Could you re-explain what you just went through?
Lot 1 got shifted this direction, so there's an area here that is actually open space, and we're proposing a landscape berm and some evergreen plantings there. Basically a green screen between the street and the house.
Can you identify the town line for me? Okay, thank you.
And then we added some notes addressing the section 9.6 of the land clearing in anticipation of utilizing these plans to file for, as Mark mentioned, the site plan review and the special permit for the use of the duplexes within the A2 zoning district.
Thank you. Any questions for John?
Yes.
On the board? Yes.
So John, with the discussion with the E1s, with the duplexes, do you imagine that there'd be one E1 assigned per building or per unit?
Per unit.
Per unit, so the duplex would be 2 E1s, and then each unit owner is responsible for the maintenance of that E1. Okay.
Currently, the plan shows one per building, and it can be two. Oftentimes it's the plumbing inspector in town who has opinions on that, and also the builder, because they're the ones who have to, if you've only got one, then the basement sort of has to have access for both property owners.
Correct.
And it gets a little more complicated, so sometimes it's easier to simply pay the extra money, put the second E1 in. And we'll work that as we go forward. I haven't had a chance to talk to DPW to get their opinion on it either, because the same applies for the water services. Are they gonna want individual water services to the units or to the buildings? Because they wanna be able to shut the water off if somebody doesn't pay the bill,
Okay.
or if there's an issue.
Or if there's,
And
preferably if there's a problem.
Right.
regarding the water,
Yep.
this whole idea of looping under through the golf course, that's over. We're going back to the pipe underneath the pond is a possibility? Is that what's happening?
Hasn't changed
Oh, it
since the
hasn't?
original submission,
Okay.
and that is to come down Shaker
Okay.
Road,
Okay.
onto the site, loop around, and then use the existing
Use that pipe.
PE pipe that goes under Shaker Mill Pond.
With the attendant inspections of the pipe, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Agreed.
Okay. My last question, I know, mailboxes, where are they going? Do you have a drawing with them on there?
No, I haven't put a mailbox on there.
Just gonna have to do that.
Generally, the post office tells us where they want it and what they want. It seems lately that they are looking for the community boxes. They don't want individuals.
No.
So that they can pull up, pop everything in the back of one box. I haven't reached out to them to get their opinion on where they want it at this point. It could be either at the entrance, it could be near the rock. If we've got 2 gravel parking spaces, maybe it could be next to that, so that you could pull in at the end of your workday, park, get your mail, and then proceed to your driveway. So all those would seem logical.
Thank you. Other questions from the board? Mr. Diskin?
So I also note on the plan that you added the street trees, I think, which we talked about.
Yep, street trees, street lights were all requested by DPW. Those have been added, along with some notes that the final lighting fixtures need to be approved by DPW. The final lighting locations based on the fixture and the wattage need to be approved by DPW. So that should be, usually that'll be taken care of as it goes forward.
When we look at these garages, the main houses have a 2-car garage, right? The big houses, single-family houses, 2-car garage.
Correct.
And the other one's a 1-car garage, basically.
Yeah.
So you've got these little, I noticed that you've narrowed the driveway off the street, which I think is good. And then there's a little turnaround
On the single families?
on the single families.
Yep.
That's the way you intend to do it.
Yep. So that you can back out and turn around and not have to back onto the street.
We've seen other stuff where it just came double wide right from the street to the garage. That's what I'm getting at. I think this might be a little better. This-
You get a lot of pavement if you
you
go
get a lot of
double wide
pavement,
all the way
yeah,
out.
Exactly, right.
And the pavement counts towards the open space calculations,
Yep.
which are one of the other things that was added to the plans showing the lots meet the open space
Yeah,
requirements.
so that-
So it's house pavement as a percentage of the lot area. I think that's on C5,
like a-
C4.
Beth?
Down towards the end, where you break off to go to the golf course, I saw you indicated a new parcel over there.
Yeah.
But the drawing over here says that the pavement ends at a certain point. Didn't we talk to him about the whole thing would be paved, or we didn't have a discussion with him at all about that?
He in the meeting said he wanted it to stay exactly as it was, which I interpreted that it would be gravel. So we provided basically pavement to just beyond our last driveway there. That seemed like a reasonable approach to me. We're proposing a sign there that says no parking, golf course deliveries only. And then on the opposite side for vehicles coming out, a stop sign so that they
Yes.
realize that they're entering a neighborhood and don't just come barreling down the hill.
I was curious about the proposed stop sign thing.
Yep, so there's one sign on either side facing either direction. One says stop and the other says don't park here, deliveries only, something to that effect that the golf course would be satisfied with.
I was thinking that pavement should go further down, that's all. This is my personal thought. I don't know if anyone else. Just to give them enough room to
Just to keep,
plow and land on pavement before you get to the, the street and whatnot.
and to keep the area clean.
Yeah.
I'm not actually sure how much access they have through there in the winter. Do you know if they
Well,
plowed it this
even in the
last storm?
summer, it'll be,
I don't know.
it'll be dusty in the summer too.
Oh,
Totally.
You know, you want to.
Extend that another 20 feet or something?
Yeah. You should right here, be better closer to where that little parcel is, the other little parcel. Give them the room to, I don't know, Anybody else have any thoughts on that? Just to me.
No, I agree.
No, that makes sense. I was wondering, did any of these changes affect your stormwater calculations in any way, one way or the other?
Yeah, we submitted a whole new round of stormwater calculations that takes into account the amount of impervious area for this. And then obviously moving to a standard detention basin required the calculations be changed. So there's a whole new book that got submitted and
Right.
sent over to DPW.
I'm just curious, was it more water or less water? I'm just curious.
I don't know, to be
Okay.
honest. I think it was less less pavement overall,
That's
by
what I
getting
thought.
rid of the common driveways.
Right, there's less pavement now with the common
less
driveways
buildings.
gone. Right.
Right. Yeah, we'll have the DPW's report on the revised plan for the next meeting.
Next meeting in January.
Yeah,
Thank you.
January.
Okay, other questions from the board?
Did you put a detail in here right at the very entrance where it's really tight on a construction detail?
I did not. Basically, we're meeting the pavement with our pavement, and we're meeting right about where the existing gravel is now. So yeah, there is some grading on the side, but we're basically gonna have the hay bales at the edge of wetlands for the first 10 or 15 feet, and there will be disturbance right up to it. The Conservation Commission is aware of that. But it'll fit. The elevation change gets, or that slope gets much steeper as you get about 50 feet into the property. Right there at the entrance, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
I thought it might be pinched there, so we might need to show them.
Well, it was a matter of getting that road in the right, basically I graded it first to make the road fit.
Okay,
And worked backwards so that I wouldn't have to put a retaining wall or anything extreme.
that was the
in
question. You don't think
No.
that's not gonna come up, huh?
No.
There's a lot going on there, guardrail, sidewalk, slope.
Yep, and the sidewalk stopped short of the
New road,
intersection
curb.
because if the sidewalk went all the way down to the end, it wouldn't fit. So the sidewalk.
That's fine.
Yep,
I get that.
sidewalk stopped right about here. It's got nothing to connect to anyway.
Yeah, it could be even further up.
I'm actually curious if the stop signs will work any better than the ones that are there now. The day we were standing there, it's just,
I'd recommend the sidewalk be pulled down the street more, but just to stay away from all that action that's going on there, but maybe it works.
We'll see if DPW has a thought on it also.
yeah.
And we can
Yeah, because I
certainly-
don't know that there's anywhere out on the other road where a sidewalk would actually
No, there isn't.
work.
Yeah, I sort of
Because-
envision the sidewalk is being used by the residents internally, not
Yeah.
as an external connection.
Exactly, because as you get onto Shaker Road there, you're right at the bridge
Yep.
with
Yeah.
no right away in the fog line's right there on the bridge abutment. Okay, other questions from the board?
You had a detail about the Cape Cod berm, and then you went to slope granite, I think, in the cul-de-sac, and slope granite at the front, which is good.
DPW asked for it on the roundings, so it'll be the entrance roundings and then the roundings into
Any
the cul
problems? Thought that was a good detail.
Yeah, that's good.
Stands up in our weather much
It
better.
holds up to the plows.
It holds up much better.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Other questions?
That might be a good chance for Mr. Santa Cruz.
I was going to ask if, thank you very much, John. Appreciate it. The board's got their questions now. I'd like to ask Mr. Santa Cruz. Thank you from Western Santa
Oh,
Cruz.
one more thing.
Sure.
I just wanted to verify if there's a set of these drawings that are submitted to the town clerk, right? We have a record over here.
Yes,
So if someone wanted to go to the town clerk.
yes,
they could
it's
come
the
and say,
reduced
"Point."
size, but she does have them.
Reduced size?
Yes, I didn't have enough large size, but she does have them, and I have the big ones upstairs. She's reduced size downstairs.
Okay, well, it would be,
And this has a revised date of 12/4/19, correct?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think it would be good to have a full-size set to the clerk's office,
Great.
if that's possible.
Thank you.
I have one question.
Yes, go ahead,
On the 12th, we talked about playground, play space, benches, pathway. When would that be conceptualized? When would we expect to see what that's going to look like?
I think we had talked about, Mr. Diskin at one point had brought up the possibility of recreational space. And then a meeting following that, we had discussed that the Boulder area would probably serve as any kind of recreational space here.
Yeah. And a path. I think we also discussed a path along the waterfront.
We have agreed in the meetings with the Conservation Commission that we will work with them to provide a walking path near the water, sort of following the path of least resistance. Oh, I apologize. And also up near the boulder. so that you could access from
Mhm.
in that area.
Yeah, I mentioned because it might affect where the sidewalk terminates as well.
Like you said, it's busy down at that end. There's some guardrail there. It's not really an ideal place for you to get down to the pond unless you want to scooch over the guardrail. We could put a gap in the guardrail a little ways back maybe so that you could walk from the sidewalk down towards the pond.
Thank you. Now can we go to traffic? Please, Mr. Santa Cruz, thank you.
Good evening. For the record, Jeff Santa Cruz with Weston and Sampson Engineers. I am a professional engineer licensed in the state of Massachusetts, as well as a professional traffic operations engineer. A lot of times you see it abbreviated PTOE. For this study, we will we'll take a look now that we have a revised unit count. We'll be using ITE to generate for trip generation. One thing we did notice is ITE doesn't have an actual land use code for duplexes. It's kind of, they have apartments, same family. So to be on the conservative side, we're going to treat the individual units as single-family homes in terms of trip generation. It'll be a little bit more, but looking at the initial numbers, it's not outrageous for the size of the development. And that'll make it a little easier. And like I said, it'll be on the conservative side, less chance for somebody to kind of have a concern. We've collected traffic data out there of existing volumes. We did the intersection of Littleton Road as well as Shaker Road, as well as traffic on Shaker Road itself. So we have an idea of what the distribution over the course of the day and then the peak hour volumes out there are. So those will form our base. We will look at seasonal adjustments because obviously December tends to be a little bit lower than other times of the year. So we'll look at one of the local counters from Mass DOT to adjust that information up or down, most likely up. As far as background growth, we'll take a look at, there was a previous study done last year for the marijuana retail facility. They have some data in there. There's no use reinventing the wheel if it's fairly recent, so we'll double check that. If it makes sense, we'll utilize that. We were also given some information from the other developments in the area, specifically one on Shaker Road and one on Littleton Road that are going in are accepted now. As far as the Madigan lot, because it can have a bunch of different potential to it, it's kind of hard to generate for trip at this time. And since there's nothing formally in front of the planning board, normally what we do is we look at that and say, could it be accounted for in the net general background growth rate that's used for the area? So we'll kind of take a look at that and we'll be finalizing that with the planning staff just to make sure that is appropriate. We will go out, we'll visit the site, which I've already done once with town staff. We'll do site distance, take a look at those at both the site driveway as well as Littleton Road. We've talked to the police department about crash data, so we'll be taking a look at that. One of the things we were asked just to take a look at as in terms of a qualitative, not number crunching, is the rotary itself and how would this potentially impact that.
You're talking about the rotary down?
Yes, yes. Because the marijuana facility did do a full analysis of that, and we have that full report, we do have a feeling of what the actual operational pieces are. So again, instead of having to redo it all over again, we can look at it from a qualitative and say, will this increase in potential traffic cause major problems there? Will they not? Is there anything that maybe could be done as a low-cost alternative to maybe offset if there is a assumed impact? And that's pretty much it. We'll wrap everything up and provide our report to the town that indicates what we found, and if there are any recommendations we have for safety improvements or operational improvements, we'll also indicate that at that time. So that's where we are right now. We're still kind of in that data collection phase, coordinating. We've requested a set of site plans, so we certainly can take a look at the main entrance. One of the things I did note when I was out there is sight distance coming out of the drive looking to the south. There's a lot of brush and existing trees that kind of block it, so I'll be a little interested to see where your landscaping berm and how high it is in relation to sight lines, just to make sure that there are no problems there.
I think that there's a pretty big shrub right there on the corner.
Yeah,
Just
and
to
there's
the
a
left.
tree that, yeah, that kind
Tough.
of, when you're sitting back, takes blocks it. So.
You have to creep out a little bit to get.
You do,
Yeah.
and the good thing is being that it's quote unquote 2 stop signs, but as you
Yeah.
noticed, how, sometimes they're not always followed, that does help us a little bit in that analysis in terms of, majority of people will tend to slow down as they approach the stop sign, which gives you a little bit more time to see what's going on.
And those of us who know the road know we should stop. It's a heck of a turn if you
It
don't.
is.
From a timing standpoint, what are we talking about? Not to put your feet to the fire.
No, my guess is right now, I might be able to have a draft right after Christmas, so between Christmas and New Year's.
Okay. And sorry, you also mentioned you can seasonally adjust because at this point, the trips into the golf course are probably fairly minimal.
Right. So what we do is we look at the local counter and it says it's about 9% higher during the peak months, so we end up boosting everything up to account.
That's how you account for that
Yeah.
seasonality of that traffic. Thank you.
And for events at the golf course, there must be an IT generation for golf course.
There's a general golf course. You could also look at
The function hall.
the functional, yes,
Right.
that's the word I was trying to look for. A function hall space as well. We could certainly take a look at that and add those numbers in as background. That's not something unheard of. As far as trip distribution, we will assume some will take a left out, but the majority of traffic will head north toward 110 and then disperse from there. When we get up to the intersection of 110, Route 2A, we will assume that the traffic pretty much will disperse based on the existing patterns, because most likely that is your existing commuter pattern in that area.
Yeah.
And anybody, since this is residential, usually they follow a similar pattern.
Yep. And of course, we will account for all the people who don't take a right-hand turn to the golf course coming from the south.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
You can't get to the golf course from Harvard.
No, you
You
can't.
can't.
It's what, left in, right out only.
Yeah,
When I went by.
exactly. Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yep, this would be a great time to ask any questions of Mr. Santa Cruz, since the next time he comes to us will be with the final report. So any questions about the traffic study, if there's anything else that, people want to see.
That's good news.
And we have some hands up in the, oh,
I'll
sorry.
ask you first.
Yeah.
Do you have a
You're
question from the board?
gonna take, when you say you're gonna look at the entrance to the subdivision, you'll be taking a look at that whole corner and
Correct.
and whatnot, what's going on.
How it operates as an intersection
Okay.
in its totality, not just the physical road end.
Not just the new road.
Correct.
The entire
Yep,
infrastructure.
the corner around,
Yeah.
how the stop line placement is.
Okay.
If there's anything, we see like there's a lot of landscaping that's tight on that inside corner.
Yeah.
So that stop sign, if it's hard to really see, there is a stop sign, a head sign further down the road. It's pretty faded and whatnot. It's not current standard. One of the recommendations might be replace it. Type of thing, so that people know that it's there before they get there and don't just assume they can zip around the corner. The other thing will be, like I said, sight lines, the guardrail's pretty banged up there. If there's anything with edge of
Actually, it's
pavement.
pulled out of the ground in one spot.
Well, that is to access the causeway. But, yeah, so those are all things we'll look at grading, just to make sure there's nothing we see funky happening
Okay.
that impacts traffic. And when I say that, it's more people stopping. You don't want a big ice jam right there where people are gonna hit their brakes and slide out. So we kind of look at that as part of our traffic analysis.
Okay.
Thank you. Other questions from the board? We'll go to the gentleman in the back.
Yes, I'm Chris Ryan, Director of Community and Economic Development for the town of Harvard. This is kind of a modern age question because I know IT is a fairly conservative organization that I don't know how they adapt to modern technology, but there is some thought that Google Maps sometimes sends people in directions that don't necessarily make the most sense. Sometimes they're based on the algorithms that they have. Thinking that maybe at some point people who are going west on Route 2 or south on 495 might be routed down Shaker Road for commuting purposes. The other thing is that sometimes things like Uber Eats, Sorrento's Pizza might send their folks up Shaker Road to actually deliver to this particular neighborhood. So is there any way to take into consideration those types of potential patterns?
We do take a look. I did take a look at both Google and Waze, because that was mentioned by the town when I came in. And yes, right now there are times a day when it may tell you to go there because it's a minute or two faster. It's all based on time. You know, the old days, our navigation used to send us by the best route, not necessarily always the fastest. I can take a look again and just see, and if it makes sense to send a little higher percentage to the south as we look at it, or maybe even do like a sensitivity analysis. I can do the initial thought, this much going this way, what happens if that much goes that way instead, and just kind of give you an idea of if it was a 50-50 split instead of an 80-20 split or something like that, what that means to the town of Harvard and, you know, in terms of traffic.
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Other questions? Yes, please.
Yeah, Daniel Tracy, Shaker Road. I had a question about the adjustment for the golf course traffic. I live on Shaker Road just across from the golf course entrance pretty much. And it seems to me it's more than just a 9% change in seasonal traffic that is probably at least twice as much traffic.
And that's what they were asking. Could I actually look at what ITE rates for a golf course are and apply those even above the 9% to account for that additional traffic when it's open? That's essentially what you're asking for, if there's a way to account for it.
Yeah, but I think because Shaker Road is not as heavily traveled in the off-season with the golf course impact is much larger than your average golf course in a more busy neighborhood.
Okay.
If I may, the golf course creates a much larger spike in trips, given the nature of the neighborhood. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yes. And I think
From April to November. So
yeah, and I think the quick comment about using function hall traffic, which adds a level of traffic to the golf course, might help get closer to the true number. I think that's what the quick exchange was that just happened during that conversation. In other words, a golf course, 4 people go to play golf in one car, never happens. But the golf course does also host events, tournaments have events and stuff like that. So,
and what we can do is we'll account for that and add that into the quote-unquote existing condition numbers. Even though we counted this time of year, we can account for that so that you will see that, and that won't be in that 9%. That 9% is the general seasonal variation that we see in more of a regional, not just to that roadway.
Or you could even ask for data from the golf course, how many golfers they have.
If they have it, yeah. If it's something they could provide, we can certainly, perhaps work through the planning board to see if we can obtain that.
Because I don't see many cars with 2 or 3 golfers in them. It's all single.
Yeah.
yes.
They're all racing to make their tee time. So the other point I wanted to make was regard to the stop signs. So I think Jeff made the same comment anecdotally earlier that nobody stops at those stop signs.
Yeah.
I do.
You do. Okay.
I do, but that's.
I did, but I'm a traffic engineer. I understand.
Well, I spend an awful lot of time behind the wheel of my vehicle, so yeah, I tend to stop.
Most don't stop.
Yes.
I live directly on the corner,
Uh-huh.
so I'm probably the one who can speak to that corner better than anybody in this room. I've lived there for almost 28 years.
Yeah.
And not only do cars not stop there, trucks also do not stop there. So that's something to consider.
Thank you.
And
Other
bikers say, when they go past, they all say, "Why is there a stop sign here?" Almost every single one of them says that.
Yeah.
So maybe it'll be more obvious when there's a road going straight
And that will help. The fact of
Yeah.
creating more of a T will look like you're coming up to another roadway, similar to when you come up to 110 and you're at a T intersection.
I don't know any cyclists who don't stop at stop signs.
What's that?
I said, I don't know any cyclists who don't stop at stop signs.
No, I didn't say they comment on it. So there was a serious accident at that corner in May of 2019, just so that maybe, I don't know if you need to get that information. There was someone who went too fast around the corner and actually flipped their car.
Going into Harvard or away from Harvard?
It was away from Harvard. It
Mhm.
was right at the culvert there
Yeah.
in the road.
I do have a question also, if I
Sure.
may. Melissa Tracy, Shaker Road. In your traffic study, again, with regard to the golf course, particularly in the beginning of the season and also throughout the season, there's a lot of commercial traffic that goes in and out of that golf course. Things are being delivered, tremendous amounts of truck traffic, garbage trucks, beer deliveries, laundry trucks, all kinds of, Kathleen probably could speak to
Large
that.
Anheuser-Busch trucks, Coca-Cola trucks,
I don't
really
know.
huge trucks.
These are big 18-wheelers, and I was wondering if that was something that is also taken into consideration with regard to a traffic study, and what kind of impact that would have going into a residential area, which I don't even know what I'm asking or how to even phrase that. But
Basically, the impact of trucks on the.
yeah,
This is
exactly.
essentially what drive, both operational and safety.
Right, and in a residential area
Yeah.
where you have children playing and you have people going down to the walking path and, just a lot of people milling about. And suddenly you have almost like an industrial park kind of activity with your truck, with the truck traffic going through there. I wonder how that could be analyzed and addressed, and what could be done to make it safer.
I certainly had been aware of the trucks, and it's something that I was going to be looking at, determine how many were going in that entrance, so that when I developed the proposed traffic coming out, I wasn't neglecting the trucks that would be coming.
Technically, that is supposed to be the only service entrance to the golf course. However, because we live across from the other entrance to the golf course, which is the main entrance to the golf course, trucks are going in and out of there all the time. So it's happening in both locations, actually, the so-called service entrance and the main entrance, which gets a significant amount of truck traffic.
To the earlier point of Google Maps,
Yeah.
Googling our new I want to say traffic.
Director, yeah.
Well, I'm a big user of Waze because I do a lot of travel in the rural areas, and I'm surprised at how it puts me going to the same place 2 different days, 2 different ways,
Two different ways.
and it's almost like it's balancing.
It does.
It's a fascinating thing, and I do sometimes wonder because I also live in a community where I'm sure we're seeing more and more traffic because of that.
Oh, definitely.
And on the street.
But it could be hour by hour,
Yeah.
because there's more Waze users are on a particular route and they're stuck in traffic.
Mhm.
It can divert. My way here today changed halfway here,
Okay.
just because of.
Yeah.
And including truck traffic also, that I see the trucks going toward Harvard, which is a very narrow, winding country road as you go further past the golf course.
Yeah, I drove it all the way back to Harvard, so I could get a
You
feel
can
for
see
it.
how deadly it can be when you have a significant increase
Well,
in
thank you.
traffic going in that direction.
Yeah. We look forward to hearing your report. Thank you for this. I'm sorry, yes, or another
Yeah,
question?
sorry, can I ask another question?
Sure.
So at previous planning board meetings, we've discussed the impact of the Shaker Road traffic into the town of Harvard. So that's the south part. And there are a number of concerns. One is that maybe contradictory to what you were assuming, that most of the traffic goes out to 2A to get places, even to go to 495 or points west. People often go as we do, as we live right on that end of Shaker Road, go south to go to 495. It's actually a quicker route, or to Route 2. And there's a lot of traffic going south on Shaker Road. And what we brought up at previous meetings is that Shaker Road is a very narrow, windy road with several blind turns. It's narrow, it doesn't have guardrails along some of the steep drop-offs into the woods. And there's this historic Shaker Village just half a mile down from the proposed site here, which has a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit restriction because it is a historic district, and folks there have lobbied and gotten that low speed limit through the town, which is not very well observed. So the point I'm making is that there's a lot of traffic going south. I think there was talk about putting a clicker on the south side of the golf course entrance, but at this time of year that wouldn't make any sense, but it would make a lot more sense if a traffic study were done next June. But there's a lot of traffic going down there. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic. A lot of people just walk on Shaker Road. Huge amount of cycling traffic. It's one of the major, I'm sure as cyclists are well aware, it's one of the major thoroughfares.
If you take the time to notice, you will see blazes from 3 different cycling clubs on Shaker Road, especially at Westcott Street. If you take a look.
There's also conservation land there, which attracts a great deal of activity, foot activity along Shaker Road. People with dogs, people walking their dogs, kids going to the conservation land. The Holy Hill Conservation Trail ends right across from the entrance to the golf course. So you often have people parking along the side of the road there and walking into Holy Hill with their dogs and with their kids, and a lot of cyclists will also, who are on mountain bikes, will go into that area there. So there's a lot of activity right in this very narrow little space.
And the Harvard Select, it's not just we residents, but the Harvard Select Board has raised concern about traffic with these added units. The number of units proposed, 22 units in this development, almost equal the number of houses currently on Shaker Road in its entirety, all the way to Littleton Road in Harvard. So we're actually doubling the traffic that would be coming down Shaker Road into Harvard, and I think it's imperative that that be considered for in the traffic study.
Okay. So,
Do you have any
thank you.
thoughts on that?
Do you have any thoughts on that?
As far as, sorry, the doubling?
You could model the traffic coming out by just, you could take you could model every single left turn out of that if you wanted to down Shaker Road, as an example.
Yeah, and I could
You
get a
model it
feel
any
of
way
what's
you
gonna
want.
happen at that intersection.
Right.
That's what I was saying, I could do some sort of sensitivity analysis if you want. I can do kind of where I was thinking of going, split to the north, or I can shift just to kind of show what the operation at the intersection is, if everything went south and what volume that is. And I can put that kind of in the appendix.
It would be interesting. It would be an interesting piece of information to have, based on the
Will you
baseline.
tell us again where you put the counters, where the counters were
The
located?
counters actually went between the two 90-degree corners, so almost on top of the bridge going through. Because I was
Here?
trying to capture, yeah. right in
I'm
there.
sorry, I shouldn't do that.
You
I do
can't
the
touch
same
it.
thing when I'm on
Well,
Epic's.
Yeah, just exit.
And the thought was, is that,
Here we go, touch it, you can touch it now, or don't touch it.
So it was
Wait.
Roughly here.
it was a little
here.
bit, no, it was further to the west.
Okay.
Okay.
And the point of it was, is it gave me, it was a nice straightaway.
Yeah.
So I didn't have to worry about
Yeah.
turning on it.
Yeah.
It gave me speed so I could get an idea, because it was a long enough straightaway away from the two corners, so I could get some idea of when people aren't at the two corners, what are they traveling, so what are they approaching the corner at, or what are they coming out of the corner at? And that's where that was taken. I think the daily this time of year was like 220 cars.
220 trips, yeah.
Cars, yeah.
Cars, yeah.
Both
Okay.
ways.
Okay.
So obviously, once we look at adding the golf course and seasonally adjusting and things like that, that number of 220 would go up.
Even when we add the golf course, we're doing that for our own information. But it doesn't, the golf course activity doesn't impact this development on the rest of the road. It's
It
really
impacts
this development
it impacts the
changes-
intersection.
Impacts the intersection.
And it would impact the intersection at Shaker and Littleton Road as well.
2A.
Which I would say, Kathleen Shields, Shaker Road, I would say is the most dangerous part of this whole development, is that intersection, right at the corner of Shaker Road and the development. That is the most dangerous intersection.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Santa Cruz. Okay. Next, we're going to keep on the discussion about this. I'm going to take a brief moment as a chair and discuss a couple things that have been happening. We're all pretty much aware of it. Touch on the high points. There has been some discussion about the boundaries between the towns of Ayer and Harvard that affect this this intersection, and not sure what people know about it or not, but there was a meeting that took place last Wednesday, I believe,
Yes.
between Mr. Archambault and Mr. Tiskin was there, and Mrs. Shields, you were there also.
Yes, I provided a letter to the planning board. I hope that everybody had a chance to read it.
Yep. We'll get there. Also, I believe Mr. Bragan, town administrator from the town of Harvard, was there. Who else?
And Mr. Ryan.
I'm sorry, Mr. Ryan.
And Mr. Boardman.
And Mr. Boardman were there. And the discussion is, it's a discussion about the, I'm going to just call them roadstones. The granite markers that live on the sides of the roads, and where the proponent has the current boundary being between the towns of Ayer and Harvard. That pretty fair description of what's going on?
They're
Okay.
actually termed boundary monuments, town boundary monuments, according to the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 42.
Yeah, well, and yes, I'm aware of that. They're also referred to as roadstones, but that's okay. Boundary monuments. And we've received a couple of letters along the way, including a letter today. I don't know if all the board members saw. It came to our offices this afternoon through Mr. Archambault at around 4:30. It's a letter from Mark Lanza.
It's in the back of that.
I don't know if you guys have seen it yet.
You're welcome.
Okay, so what I'd like to do is, if I could just touch the tops of the waves, and we're not getting, we will get into a discussion about this, but the issue of the town boundary. This was brought up in our research a while ago, and in talking to Mr. Boardman and talking to engineers, with the advent of new technology on how town boundaries are designated, with the GIS software we have now, town boundaries, more exact, more accurate, I don't know what the word is for it, okay? Because I'm going to very quickly say it's more accurate, and I think that's probably the gist of the issue here, okay? Mass General Law does require that towns maintain monuments along roadways. And the monuments along the roadways are, I've always felt those to be the town boundaries. But my research has showed me that sometimes they're not exactly what the monuments are. I am not an attorney. I don't know where to go in this situation. We did receive a letter, so the meeting last week was a discussion of the boundary and how it was being determined between the engineers and Mrs. Shields and the town of Harvard. Town of Harvard went out and spoke to their town attorney. Mark Lanza is the town attorney. And he provided a letter today, if I may paraphrase, which says that the pursuant to Massachusetts general law, the monuments themselves signify the boundary between the towns, and those should be used. So in short, we've got a disagreement. Am I saying correctly?
Don't necessarily agree with the language he's got. He says it's a
Well,
premise.
Whether we agree with the language or not, but we have two.
There's a disagreement.
There's a disagreement upon where the boundaries sit.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
You're saying there's a disagreement on where the boundary monuments sit, or the boundary line sits?
No.
I don't know the answer to that. To be honest with you, I don't know the answer to that.
Does the planning board typically address issues of town line, county line concerns, or is that addressed by another board?
So you're asking me a question. I'm a little adrift, Mrs. Shields, because at 4:30 this afternoon I saw the letter. It's my understanding that the town boundaries are the responsibility of the selectmen, basically.
Yes.
The Board of Selectmen are required by master and law to visit the town boundaries, and we've joked about this around this table in the past. They were supposed to visit the boundaries of the town. And there was a belief that it was done by the planning board. A past member of the planning board was a town selectman here in Ayer for many, many years. He talked about the process of going out and visiting the markers and putting his initials on them with the date. That was assumed to be a planning board, just in that conversation. Oh, the planning board thought they were to do it. I believe Mr. Lanza is correct when he says it's the selectmen who have to do it on a periodic basis.
According to Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 42.
Exactly.
the
Yeah.
selectmen do that.
Yeah. And so,
Yes, that's correct.
I don't believe the planning board gets to choose what the boundaries are.
I don't believe so either.
So, and in the same sentence, I don't know that the planning board can direct or not direct in a situation where a boundary is in question, what the solution would be. So,
Can I make another statement, please?
yeah, excuse me,
Yeah.
Mark.
I was just going to add, I was speaking with the town manager here. He mentioned that Mr. Lance's letter has also been sent to our town council.
Yeah.
So that, they can talk, but at some point, perhaps, in a meeting where we can get surveyors and attorneys together around the table, we can hopefully resolve this very soon. I doubt we'd be able to resolve this question tonight, but we can raise the issues that need to be discussed at such a meeting.
Yeah. So, and I believe, Mr. Shields, this is one of the reasons you're here this evening.
I'm here almost every evening for this
Yeah.
development. It's directly across the street from my house.
Exactly. So, did I characterize the situation correctly?
Not quite.
In your eyes? Okay.
Not quite, no. I sent an email to the members that were present at the meeting last week,
Mm-hmm.
where I had pulled all of the properties that are impacted by the town line on Shaker Road, back to 1950s, where it shows the town line. There were only 3 records, registered records, that did not show the town boundaries used as the line for Shaker Road. And those were 2 plans by Aho Development, one in 2017, one in 2019, and a plan by Ross Associates in 2019, July of this year, for the property at the turn in the road. And there, they actually termed the line the approximate town line. They do not call it a town line, and it does not go through the town boundaries. So otherwise, all of the properties along that stretch of Shaker Road now have deeds that are no longer valid. If you are proposing to accept a town boundary line that does not go through the town boundary monuments, That's my point. It negates my deed. It negates the deed of the Tracys. It negates the deed of other people along the road. Now, at that meeting last week, I was told by John Boardman, do not worry about this. Why do you need to worry about this? This isn't a concern. This, and I appreciate Chris Ryan's response to him, which was that this indeed does have a serious impact on all of the properties along the town line. In other words, my property would now be within the town of Ayer instead of the town of Harvard where I purchased it. You can understand where my bank may be very concerned that I now have a property in a town other than the one in which they had.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I
Yeah.
do. And hence why I would say, I don't believe I'm the person sitting in the seat who has to make that.
What I had been told by
Yeah.
Tim Bragan yesterday on the phone
Mhm.
was that this meeting would likely immediately address this concern and that the development would have to be put on hold until the town line issue. Actually, he didn't even say that. He said until there was a correction in the AHO plans to correct for the correct town line. That was his statement.
Okay. I was not aware that he made that
That's his
statement.
statement from,
Yeah.
that's his statement. That doesn't mean
And
it's
he's-
a correct statement.
Hmm?
It's only his statement.
Yes.
The
So,
thing that Mrs. Shield left out, and, you know, I beg to differ with you, you're looking at all the plans in the area. The plans that are, unfortunately, the situation is that all the drawings that were done across the street on the same side of the road as this development, which were done, unfortunately, simultaneously to some work on the other side of the street. But the research we found was that, yes, there is a town boundary there. It's in the right place. But there are, in fact, only two marks at the extremes of the boundary. These intermediate stones were placed, I'm not sure when. But the corners of the land have never changed. And all the work for the golf course, all the work for Bennett's Brook Crossing, all the work on the opposite side of the street will verify upon further research authorized by the town of Harvard, whoever might want to authorize it. But the boundary line that's shown on the drawings that have been submitted to us represent the same boundary that's been there in forever, my estimation. So there's been no change.
That's just simply not true.
That's the way I see it. So that's where there's an interpretation between the engineers. But the survey drawings that we've presented, that's why I wanted to make sure that you knew that there was a set of drawings at the town clerk's office, because you can go look at those drawings. The survey line that we're looking at is the same surveyed line that was put together when the clubhouse was put in the town of Ayer. When the line was really studied hard by Charles Perkins Associates, a previous engineer. And that's the research that is coming up when you look at all the plots on the other side of the road. And we tried to make this.
Ken, did you open the
Point,
attachments that I sent in that
I looked at
email?
everything you sent me, I'd already seen before.
They all go through the town boundary monument.
They go through the road stones. They go through the road stones. So that's what the difference is. That's where the misunderstanding is that
Can you describe what the roadstone is versus the town boundary monument?
I can very clearly. There are only two town boundaries on the line. There's one on the extreme, right here, that arrowhead up.
careful not to touch.
And there's one way over in Fort Devens, and they're 11,507 feet apart. And that's where the discrepancy happens to occur, is the boundary hasn't changed from the records that I talked about last week from 1908. And that line is the same as it's been since 1908. But in the meantime, intermediate stones were placed on the road to show where the boundaries were. That's what the discussion is, and I don't think we
So
need
the
to say
stone
any more
across
about
the
it.
street from mine was placed in 1850.
Exactly.
And it's on record in the Historical Society.
I'm not disagreeing with anything
In
you're saying.
Harvard.
I'm not disagreeing with any about those markers. I'm just telling you what we've found and what has been submitted in our drawings. So it's really beyond us now. It's up to another intermediary, I guess, a surveyor from a third party or something. But the work on the side of the, I try to emphasize to go back to the work of the country club and go back to the work of the Bennett's Brook Crossing when the town of Ayer and the town of Harvard were really being careful about the separation of the amount of land that was landing in Harvard and Ayer for the country club. And there's a lot of work done back then.
Can I ask you a question, Ken? if that indeed did change my deed,
So it had nothing to do with your deed.
no, it certainly did. If you're talking about the line having shifted based on the golf course development. My house has been sitting there
Okay,
since
that's-
1840.
There's a misunderstanding.
If the line shifted,
The line
as a
didn't shift.
result, okay, so you're saying that the line does go through the town boundary monument.
No, I'm saying the line never shifted.
Okay, can
Just
you
saying
tell
as
me,
engineering-
does the line go through the town
I
boundary
shouldn't answer, I
monument?
can't say anything
Yeah.
right
Yeah.
now. I'm
This
done.
is
I would
not
say,
for
I
us.
think
It's not right for us
the
to talk about this right now.
that line was set in the 1800s. The accuracy with which you can measure that line has increased tremendously with technology. So that is the fundamental issue. The line that was measured in 1908 will differ
So you're
from
telling
the
me, Mark, that all of these towns in Massachusetts are now using triangulation rather than town boundary
Well,
same-
monuments?
No,
To determine-
Excuse me, okay.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah, we can't get it, so
No.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
just let it go.
well,
So that we don't descend into an argument about what all the towns in Massachusetts are doing or not. We have a situation right now that has true impact upon two parties in the room. The planning board is not the, well, excuse me.
And more.
When I say two parties, I mean, we have two sides of the conversation, Mrs. Shields.
Two
And
sides of a line,
it
if you
is,
will.
it is our desire to not make the wrong, if you make the wrong choice.
Yeah, we're not gonna-
Okay,
Sign
I
something.
am suddenly sitting here, which part of the baby do I pick? And I need to.
Not our job.
And I need to find out, and I know this got to our town council today. I have not had a chance, and quite honestly, had I not gone home on the way over here, with a few extra minutes and clicked it open, I wouldn't have seen it before the meeting. So we need to figure out what the next step for this is. I appreciate that your town administrator might think that we could make this decision this evening, but I don't believe any of the members of the board are comfortable doing that. We have been down this road with the proponent in the past, discussing the boundaries. We have been working with GIS for a while. That's one conversation. The other conversation is what is the impact upon deeds and stuff like that? Again, that's out of the scope, honestly, of what we're doing right here. And I don't know the answer to that question either. I find myself, after 6 decades on this earth, knowing less and less sometimes. But I'm glad I'm here to actually be able to think about it. So with that being said, I don't want us to descend into a screaming match. I think we've got some,
I think I've been very civil in this discussion.
Do not let me, please, I do not want to in any way characterize you as being anything but civil on either side. And actually, those of you who've been before me, been before this board for a while when I've been here, we have descended in the past, and I'm glad that we haven't done it in a long time. More gets done this way, to my eyes. I don't know what the next step is. We do need to speak with our town council and find out about it. I know this is a discussion that both parties are very interested in. And the town of Harvard has stepped up and brought it forward. So I would ask that Mark help do
Right,
the...
yeah, I'll do my best to facilitate the conversation between the two towns and the attorneys and surveyors, whatever we have to do to resolve this as
Yeah.
quickly as possible. And I noticed that the planning administrator for Harvard had his hand up earlier. Right,
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I really didn't want to interject myself into this process. All I wanted to do was try to actually prevent the last 10 minutes from happening, because it really wasn't necessary. I think that the bottom line is that it is outside of the purvey of the planning board right
Yes.
now, and is outside of the purvey of Kathleen right now as well. It's in our other parties' hands, and the discussion will take place there and then be brought back here. So I was just trying to essentially do my own
appreciate
way
that.
of facilitating a peaceful resolution for the moment, and then move on.
You got the
Can I
the
just
volunteer here, and you got
Yeah.
the professional there. Thank you very much.
Can I just make a statement there? And I appreciate that, Chris. I just want to make a statement here, though. I think what's been very interesting to me is at the meeting on Wednesday, when Ken realized that there was obviously an issue with where the town boundary monument was versus where the town line was depicted on the subdivision. he then went ahead and started his own investigation, his own discovery work on the town line. And that was, I think that everyone at the meeting, and I hope that everyone that was present at the meeting will back me up on what I heard. So I guess I'm wondering, when does the planning board really understand what their purview is and what it is not?
I think we just said
I think we do understand it, and it has been clearly articulated by our chair.
So Jonathan, excuse me for a
For
minute.
4 months,
Um,
this has been discovered and investigated.
And so, a couple things happen. When a project comes to us, we do take time to walk the property. We often get permission from opponents to walk the property without them there. We also go out and do research. We also take a look at things. It depends on the project, okay? For instance, would be one of our solar projects. All the trees got disappeared on it by mistake. It was picked up by somebody who was on the project one day. That's how it happens. When we noticed the road markers and we noticed the boundaries, we needed to do some research on it, so we did. And that's to answer your question.
But you never went to the select board for the research.
It has not been, I guess I don't understand your question.
I guess, did you read the Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 42?
Well-
Mr. Chair,
Yes.
can we not digress into this
Yeah.
topic? We've already
Okay. but
aware that this is something we're
Bottom line
gonna.
is, we believe we do our homework along the way.
Thank you.
So, thank you. Thank you.
Out of line.
Yep, so I will keep the board and everyone informed. We have, the town administrator from Harvard, and, we'll have the town councils involved and
Thank
the project proponent.
Mhm.
And we will set up another meeting as soon as possible, based on the two town councils' opinions, and we'll resolve this as quickly as we can.
And I received that this afternoon also, and I talked to my client, and their attorney is going to reach out to either the town council in Harvard or
Yeah.
either that or through.
It would be great if he had cited some case law. It would have been very helpful. But thank you. Okay, so Mrs. Shields, just so you know, it's gotten everyone's attention.
I
Definitely.
appreciate that.
Yep. What else do we have?
Well, if we're done with this, the next,
We need a motion to continue,
Yeah.
oh, yeah.
Yeah, well, I was gonna say,
Yeah.
before we move to
Please.
continue.
Right,
I'm
right.
just
Yeah.
making sure.
Do we want to go over the comments that we received from, that John talked about, that came from his response to the DPW? Or do we want to just read that as part of your record? And we've seen it, but I don't know if anyone on board wanted to.
I actually,
Whether you wanna-
you're talking about
The Places Associates memo?
Places Associates response.
This
response.
response.
I hit the highlights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
He
think,
went through some of them.
Okay, I just was curious if anyone
And-
wanted
If there
to.
was-
And DPW has the revised plans to send us comments back, along with fire. Police already sent theirs back with no comment.
Okay, so I just was checking anyone else
Yeah, thank you.
thought about that.
At this point, no.
then we'll need a motion to.
I would entertain a motion to continue the public hearing.
So
So- Seconded.
Moved and seconded. Any further discussion?
No.
Hearing none. Thank you very much. And I
Wait, we have to say aye.
I'm sorry, all in
Aye.
favor?
Aye.
What is our next meeting date, if I may ask?
I was just gonna
114.
say, I'm sorry?
114.
January 14th.
I almost said a month before Valentine's Day.
Yeah, that's right.
January 14th.
On the
Thank you
agenda.
very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. And have a wonderful holiday all. Thank you.
No, it goes to January 28th.
Okay, good.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, and just remember,
Moving along.
for special permit,
Here we go.
because
Okay.
special permit process.
Next on our agenda.
I'm for
Thanks to
conflict of
Mr.
interest.
Archambault and Mr. Diskin
Oh, maybe go beyond.
being adamant about this, and I'm glad you have it, Ken. We have in our possession a zoning map,
Do.
a big one with the signature block on it.
Right, yeah, right. Does anybody play drums? You want a drum? All right.
I asked
I
the
do.
surgeon if I'd be able to play piano when I was done.
I can't use my knitting.
What? So this is the full size.
It's the real thing.
It's the real
That's
deal.
bigger than the regular
This is
full
it.
size that we all have.
This is how our children and grandchildren remember us.
You will have
As the
plenty
signatories to this.
pens to pick from and choose to sign with. I have plenty of pens for you to pick how you want to sign it.
Do we get to keep the memorial pen for the signature of the zoning?
No, no, those are expensive too, so you cannot.
Yeah, sure, good luck.
You can sign with them, those are my pens. Even my building department budget.
Did you guys see the ice sculpture outside?
I saw it.
Oh, sad.
I saw pictures of it and I saw it yesterday.
Maybe the best thing to do
Just
is,
spread it.
yeah, to spread it here.
I would, because of
All
the
liquid.
microphones.
Yeah, we don't,
Yeah, can
I was just with the microphones.
Excuse
I
me,
wouldn't
we're just
have
gonna
done
take,
that.
we're gonna take a quick 5 minute break.
let's take,
Can we sign it?
I brought all my
okay,
pens.
briefly, what this.
Let's make sure we've got the, are we all,
Oh,
Barry, are we all set?
You may be all
Okay,
set,
great.
but I do need
Thank you
to
very
open it.
much for giving us that few minutes off, a few minute break.
It's public meeting, I have to.
Mark, go
Okay,
for it.
yes, we have a new zoning map prepared by the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission. This is based on the June 10th town meeting where we instituted the form-based code for the downtown business district. So that is here, the DFBCD. If we have to date this as re-endorsement, that would be today's date. And then there's a space here for each planning board signature. And the date here is preparation from the regional planning, December 2019. So we would need a motion to accept this as the new zoning map for the town. And then after signatures, I would make copies and file the original with the town clerk. So it's only one sheet.
Fantastic.
Want to review it first?
Nothing really changed, none of the boundaries of the zoning districts changed. It's just, we just changed downtown business to form-based code district. We have the correct title block and all that.
Fantastic. Mr. Diskin, do you believe that these?
Well, I would make a motion and we can discuss it. if
There we
you don't
go.
mind.
Oh, yes.
I'll make a motion that the Air Planning Board endorse the zoning map for the town of Ayer, Massachusetts, as prepared by the Montechusett Regional Planning Commission for December of 2019.
Seconded.
Any discussion?
I've moved and seconded. Any discussion? I'm sorry.
Okay.
Any
Okay,
discussion?
so,
Hold on. It's been moved and seconded to accept this. Any discussion? Hearing none, all, I'm sorry.
Start with Julie.
Any discussion? Go ahead.
Can I initial my house?
No,
Just
This is discussion
question.
about having.
Is this also?
no, this is a discussion about the motion.
About the
No discussion about
Okay,
the
great.
motion.
So
They're
this
always
doesn't
beautifully made.
reflect
It
the
doesn't,
form-based code approved at the last town meeting.
No, it does
right?
not.
Okay.
This is as of June of
I got it.
2019.
I just wanted
Got
to
it.
double check.
Okay.
The reason I brought that up,
That's old.
this was brought to my attention at least a year, I don't know, sometime in the past, that in our zone, I'll read it to you, but in our zoning regulations, it refers under a paragraph in the zoning regulations that it complies with the zoning map.
Yes.
And we never had the zoning map up to date to comply with the new changes we made in the regulations as of
Correct.
March of 2018, I think it was.
Yes.
So someone had asked me about this outside the regulations themselves and said, well, this went back years ago and there's no map at the clerks, and so we're doing a good deed here by getting this to the clerk the way they're supposed to be.
Exactly. And 120 days after the last town meeting, we'll have it in the map.
We'll have another map.
So we'll do one next year.
I know.
At which
And-
point you can have a
Yes.
copy of this and initial your house.
right.
On a plus
Going
side,
in
they
Elliott.
added more streets on there, so if you're ever
Yeah.
looking for one, like
Oh, yeah.
John Riley wasn't on the old one,
Oh, good.
so it makes it a lot easier to find.
John Riley is there. Some of the new developments are
Helps
actually
me.
on this.
Yeah.
on this.
And I'm finding out what district people live in.
Okay,
right,
great.
so we'll need a good pen, whatever pen
Having-
is most
Pick a pen.
suitable.
So,
There's multiple pens
I know,
there.
we
The
should
blue
probably
ones
test
are
it on something else.
yeah, the blue ones in that one are a fine point
So,
gel,
we have
and then
oh,
the
so-
one with the rubber
What do you recommend
is
for
it's up to whoever people
something
choose.
that won't
I
smear
recommend
and
this
something that
How
will,
sharp is that Sharpie?
There's both
Yeah.
sides. There's either side.
yeah, we want the narrow.
if you move on the narrow one,
Okay,
move
Sharpie it is.
slowly.
Yeah, and then I
Okay.
grabbed multiple pens. You guys could pick.
So,
Everyone can
It's
sign it
been moved
different
and
if they like.
seconded that we accept this map. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion
Passes.
So there's
passes.
multiple. Yeah.
Thank you.
This one
Move
and that
slowly.
one are ballpoint. The rest are all gel.
Definitely can't do this. This is a baby.
Crummy pen.
That's why I grabbed multiple pens.
oh no.
It's okay.
I'll try this side.
You got this.
Try the other side.
Yeah,
it'll be
mine's
fine.
Okay.
That's why I got multiple pens.
You got it.
Everyone can try which one they like.
Yeah.
Guess what, I have to use that.
I'm gonna go last, because my left was the worst.
Oh,
And then
mine's
somebody
worse.
who's got.
I
Go next
actually
to
have
yours.
my right hand back.
Somebody who's
on.
got
Yay!
Oh, wow.
That's what my signature looks like, only with an
Somebody
H.
who's got really neat handwriting can write today's date there. But that won't be me, 'cause I don't have.
I have actually exceptionally neat handwriting when I want to.
Mine is not. My handwriting's atrocious.
So I'll have this
As you can tell.
copied upstairs, and we can make 11 by 17.
There's one missing.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
And would you do me a favor?
Signatures.
Could you make a wallet size for each one of us?
And then we need someone to put the date in.
Do you want me to write
Right.
December or 12?
December.
Yeah.
Can I write DEC?
Yeah,
Yep, DEC 10. Fantastic.
DEC.
10.
It's the 10th, not the 11th?
Today's the
I've
10th.
been telling everyone it's the 11th.
Oh, well, you've been wrong. 2019. Look how neat that is.
Wow.
I tried really hard. Oh, wait, we're capless.
It's right there.
Thank you.
Oh. Okay, we'll let that dry for a minute. Are you okay with that?
Yeah, yeah, I'm fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good.
Fantastic. Okay, next on our list, town planner update announcements.
Okay. Ken Diskin, Van Dan Schauer, and myself, and
Mr. Grant?
yes, we've been meeting on the subdivision regulations, and we're making good progress on addressing the comments of Superintendent Wetzel. So we're going through those. We're going to meet every Tuesday for the remainder of this month to work out the subdivision regs. And then we'll need to get them cleaned up a little bit, formatted, and then distributed to the board for its review, hopefully at the January meeting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And,
Excuse me, you're not, it's not at all boring, it's overwhelming.
I actually had a chance to speak with Mark Wetzel about the notes he had made and kind of where they came from. I'm really glad you guys are looking at that with him. Sounds really interesting.
It's good
Yep.
stuff.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, and also, I'm working with Alan in putting together a new zoning bylaw. In addition to the map that we just signed, we need to get the form-based code in there and everything else that is passed, so we're working on that.
You're gonna make me, I eventually want to not bring a zoning article to town meeting
I know, for a while.
in 1 year.
Right.
Give them a break.
Yes, they'll just be minor ones,
No,
hopefully, for a while.
but, and I'm joking.
Yeah, but we're playing catch-up after years of.
And I'm joking, and I've sat through a lot of the work being done, and I hope that helped in some ways. But a great deal has been done on behalf of the town of Ayer. And I thank you very much for the time, Jonathan,
Well, we'll
Ken,
see.
that you're putting into this.
Yeah.
Mark.
You know,
Ken.
and Mark,
Mark.
having a town planner, having a town staff, it
Absolutely.
makes a huge difference. Makes a huge difference. And it also lends itself to meetings where we get things done, not meetings that quickly dissolve into rancor. So I appreciate all that. Fantastic. Other announcements from the planner?
No, that's
That's
all.
it? Okay. Administrative announcements, old business, Mr. Diskin?
Sorry.
I've had my plate full already.
Nothing? You've caught up. Bring it to us in January.
Business. I could think of something, but
I know
I'm
you
gonna
could.
move on.
Yeah.
I know you could. Thank
Sounds
you very
good.
much. And I do want to say again, thank you very much to Ken
Yeah.
and
Yes.
Mark
From all of us.
and everybody. There were other players involved in the issue with the boundaries. Our town engineer's been involved in it. I honestly think that we've come to the situation where we have two interpretations. Neither one is more correct than the other of what's going on. Which one gets applied is
There's only
the
one
outcome.
boundary. It's a set
I appreciate there's only one boundary. Other new
Is
business.
that on this one?
We are, again, I'll let the people at home, January 14th is our next scheduled meeting. So with that, we'll move on to approving the meeting minutes of November 26th and the amended November 12th minutes. And I believe The amended November 12th minutes.
The
Could you-
number 20 bill, that there was just one item on the approval of the agenda that said approval of agenda as amended, and there was no amendment, so I had to remove that,
Got
even
it.
though we'd already assigned it, so you just need to re-vote
Got
on
it.
approving amended minutes, and then we'll
Fantastic.
post those.
Okay, meeting minutes for November 26, 2019. I was actually capable of getting my one comment.
One comment, and then it's.
My one comment in.
Yeah, I
And
didn't see
I won't point it out,
Hang on, that's the tier.
but I would accept the motion.
I make a move that we accept the minutes for November 26, 2019, as presented.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Sorry.
Any discussion? Give you all a minute to take a look. I discovered something interesting about it, the town email system.
Yes.
I cut and pasted that discussion piece
Yeah.
to give you.
Yeah.
Won't allow me to.
There's some deficiencies.
There was, it was a word choice. The word as was in place of the word at.
Yes, which at makes way more sense.
Yeah. It's funny, I can read very complex things, but it's the small words like
Yeah.
as, at, and
My sister's the English
out.
teacher, not myself.
that throw me off. No, it's very easy. That one's, okay. No comments?
This is the November 26th, right?
Yes.
I don't have any comments.
I didn't find
Fantastic.
anything.
Nope.
Fantastic, hearing no further discussion. All in favor of approving? as-
Aye.
Aye.
Chair votes aye. Opposed? Thank you very much. And today is December 10th.
And then again, for the ones on the 11th, the 12th, 11, 12, you've already voted to accept those. I caught one minor thing needs to be corrected on the minutes from the approval of the agenda. It stated it was approved as amended, but there was no amendments. The assistant town manager pointed that out too, so we just need to vote. I've taken that out on those that are in front of you.
Okay.
So if we could just vote to fix the,
So nothing
approve
else has
those
changed.
as amended, and they'll get posted as amended minutes.
I will entertain a motion for the minute to approve the minutes of November 12th, 2019.
As
So-
amended
amended.
on
As amended.
December 10th?
Yes.
As amended on December 10th. You guys kill me.
Did you move it?
I don't know, I was.
Yes, you
I was
did.
amending the
Yes.
movement.
Seconded.
She sure did.
Moved by Mrs. Murray, seconded by Mr. Krantz. Any further discussion?
Sad if I'm fixing the
Hearing
motion.
none, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Thank you very much.
One abstention because I wasn't there.
And one abstention.
I did have one piece of.
Actually, yeah, it's
You already
right.
thanked Mark.
I'm sorry, I will change the chair changed the vote to abstain also because I
Yes.
You
was,
weren't there, right?
I was dealing with my wrist or
It's
something.
3-2, same as it was, and Ken, the minutes, if you want to sign, they all say amended, so the ones that
Look
you
at that, I
have in
wrote
front of you,
down.
you can sign.
This one did.
Yeah,
Card
this is
that.
the one. And the signature lines on the last page, I suggest you sign the
Yeah,
last
they're all,
printed
they all
page.
say approved as amended, so
Yeah,
you can sign either one.
just date it and sign it, please.
Please, thank
We're
you.
approving
Here,
it today.
would you please pass this on to Heather?
I give yours a special paper clip, so I know which ones are the ones that are marked approved and not drafts. It helps.
The red clip,
Yes.
the one that I took off.
Yeah, that's okay, I have more colors for next time.
We got a big year coming.
Yeah?
Yeah. I want to say thank you. It's so nice to look around a table of 5 people.
Yeah.
It
But how do
really
you
is.
know
That means you really liked your
there's stuff coming in you know about? But
Well, I'm gonna lay something on the table right now.
what's that?
Okay. We have a new year coming. I don't know how long I've been chair, but I think we might entertain an election earlier in the year. We have, whose seat is up in election? My seat is up for election this year. Typically, we change with the election,
Yes.
okay?
And when is that,
May.
Jeff? May.
Is it May or April?
Usually the first meeting in May is when we do the.
Yeah, but the election's in April. The
Ruth is
election's
saying
in
April.
Huh?
The elections are in April.
I don't know,
we do the-
town meeting did weird things, who knows when it is.
So, anyway, so
On a Sunday night.
my seat's coming, but I want to say thank you all. It's been a really good year. Looking back at the town meeting, looking back at the form-based code, we have been looking at a challenging project
Definitely.
right now. It just got more challenging. And we got a lot done this year. I would also like to say that I think we're doing a really good job of working interdepartmentally. Conservation's got stuff going on, we've got stuff going on. I know that you're all working with Mr. Wetzel on a bi-weekly basis or so here in town. And we've got a very cohesive planning operation going. Came to town 5 years ago, and it doesn't seem like a long time, but it was one gentleman on a volunteer basis trying to hold the whole thing together. So I want to say thank you all to all of your commitment to doing this. It can be difficult at times. With that, yes, Mr. Tisdale?
I'm sorry, but I have a piece of new business.
Good, go for it.
And it's related.
Go ahead, yeah.
So along the short of it is I do watch the Conservation Commission meetings when we have the same proposal, before both boards. The Ayer development is before Conservation simultaneously being before us. And the discussion continues to come up. It came up before Conservation regarding the conservation restriction and the ownership of the open space.
Yeah, I wonder that too.
And so I encouraged Mark to, one of the comments they made at their board, or I think Joanne Christoph made the comment that we need to have kind of a meeting with the Conservation Commission, the Ayer Planning Board and the Ayer Conservation Commission, so we understand exactly what both boards want on the open space for these two developments in the conservation restriction. So that's all I have.
No, I think that's
important.
So if we could ask Mark to coordinate with
Okay.
Joanne.
Yes.
And maybe we have to come to January 14, maybe it's something after that. But
If I understand you correctly, Ken, I mean, the issue is that with these OSRDs, there are always going to be these open spaces, and the
Correct.
question is, what does the town of Ayer want? Do we want these for ourselves or not? We have to have a consensus on what we want
And
to
it
do.
varies from project. So it was clear to them in their discussion that this is more valuable, the open space, than the first one, which
Right.
was just land left over in the back.
It was landlocked by a fence.
And then Pepsi on the other side.
Exactly.
We spent time, getting access to it, and they talked about the trails, so we need to kind of get together on that.
But and I'm going to play the advocate here for a minute. Also, there may be opportunities where less valuable land needs to become the responsibility of the town.
Sure.
It may be.
Yeah.
But that needs to be discussed because of think of the consequences of that over time.
Like what we're doing now, we're getting there, and I think conservation is doing a great job. I just, we talked about the recent ZBA work, the recent conservation work. We seem like we're all moving. We're. I wouldn't say we're moving in the right in all the same direction. That would be a mischaracterization. But I would say there seems to be a more cohesive approach to what's going on in the town, and we're really looking at things to stand on their own merit as a project.
True.
And what happened to ZBA, that stood on its own merit. That's exactly what happened. So anyway, next year.
And the reason I bring that up is because I feel Mr. Boardman will come back to us next month with the same question again. So
He will.
Yeah.
So
He wants to move forward, and
We do too?
yeah, subdivision regulations are next year.
Nathan has.
Oh,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
this is random, but there was in the email the zoning board of appeals issue on Central Street. Was that not in the?
We talked about it at the last meeting, I believe. So
I think so.
I forget what my mind comes. Yes, what happened? The zoning board of appeals. The Central Street went to the zoning board of appeals.
The Joyce.
Yes.
Joyce Lane
The
subdivision.
Joyce Lane
Yeah.
subdivision. Okay. So the long and short of it is, the subdivision was approved 20 some odd years ago, and it was argued at the ZBA that the hardship that is now currently being experienced by the proponent was brought about by the proponent not taking action 20 years ago.
That's right.
And the ZBA voted 5-0 not to approve. There was also a great deal of interest in the neighborhood at the meeting.
I bet.
That'd be butters.
The abutters, yeah. Actually, as a matter of fact, I was stopped by an abutter who did not realize they were an abutter the other day about it. And I said, "Oh, that's what." He said, "Oh, I'm glad it was." So anyway, it's unfortunate.
Was there a role for the planning board?
It was not. It turns out that Mark's research put him in the right place.
Okay.
Zoning Board of Appeals. They have. It's basically a dormant decision, did nothing about it. We didn't know what to do. Mark did the research, figured out that it goes to ZBA. He went to ZBA, and it was one of the ZBA members during the meeting that made the point. Similarly, how the boards interlock. It was, and I found this out through Mr. Diskin, because I don't watch the TV set for conservation, but we have duplex units because of a suggestion by a conservation commissioner.
Interesting.
Yeah. Somebody thinking outside the box. Again, all in the right direction, but thinking outside our box. Which is really nice, because we do lines on paper sometimes, you know?
Well, I think especially as a newbie, I don't know, Julie and Nate would agree. I mean, sometimes we don't even know what we can suggest. You know, and it's like I wouldn't even know that, oh yeah, you could say, well, what about some multi-units on here? Is that, you know, within reason, is that possible? Especially when it took imagination beyond the current zoning that would require a special permit. It wouldn't naturally occur to you unless you're more experienced. I think as we're developing more experience over this year, I think it'll be easier for us to make more informed recommendations or suggestions or put issues on the table.
Exactly. So, anyway, we got subdivisions coming up. Accessory use is going to, has it gone to the state? Accessory apartments?
Yeah, we're still waiting from the AG on all those.
Oh, okay, great, because I think there's some applications for that.
But yes, we haven't received any applications for accessory apartments yet.
No. The last thing I wanted to talk about, and I want to put this on people's radar, is short-term rentals. That issue raised its, that issue came up a while back, and I think that's probably something we should pick up next year.
The Airbnb related?
Yeah, short-term Airbnb, whatever they call it, vacations are us, so whatever they call it.
VRBO.
Sorry? VRBO, yeah.
You wanted to look into tiny houses too, didn't you?
Yes.
Maybe not.
I actually, so Mr. Diskins, about tiny houses, if I remember reading our bylaw, I think our minimum square footage is 750 feet.
Yes.
For a freestanding single family home.
That's it.
And that's typically what towns were doing back in the 60s and 70s because they didn't want tiny homes. But I think accessory use also may apply to that.
The question I had, somebody brought up, this question about tiny houses, and could we create any zoning for tiny houses? But the question I had for myself was, we actually have mobile home parks in the town right now. I have no idea how they're zoned, or what regulations control them.
Yeah.
But they certainly have those slots that are
Right.
just right for a tiny house.
Right.
But it's called a different name in the old days, it's a mobile home
That's a
or
good
trailer.
question, yes.
But I have no idea how those areas how they operate right now.
I know where they
We
are.
definitely have some, probably 3, something like that.
I just met a resident of one.
Yeah, so, there's legitimate potential there for,
So I'll put one other thing on people's radar. It's not exactly in our little town, but guess what went on the market recently? Boston Campground. Little town.
No kidding.
It's right on the line.
Wow.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a nice piece of property
It's a beautiful piece of property.
back down there.
I found that out because I was trying to do a function and we were thinking about using it
Oh,
as an overnight. And I did a quick Google to find out who the people were, and up comes, it's for sale.
wow,
So
that's a big piece of property there.
yeah, that would be it's outside of our purview, but it's right there on the corner of Bruce and Will.
It's right on the curve, basically, of 2A.
At
but it's-
2A.
It's right next to the gas station.
Exactly. Any other business? Hearing none. I'd like to wish you all and your families a marvelous and restful holiday.
You too, man.
A safe holiday if you choose to travel. With that, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.